Hey, my name is Eric Huang with erictutor.com. This is a SAT speedrun for Less Broken. We're going to be working on SAT practice test number 8, which you can find on College Board's website for free if you'd like to follow along. I'll include a link in the description below. Let me know if you like videos like these, and I'd be happy to make more of them. Okay, so we're going to start off with the reading section. The reading section is the first test, 65 minutes for 52 questions, so just slightly more than a minute per question. Okay, so the rules here are that I'm going to go through the test as quickly as possible, but I have to explain my reasoning. Okay, so we're going to zip through it, and it's okay if you can't follow along. All right, so we'll start the timer now. Ready, go. All right, first passage is fiction, which is The Angel's Game, so always read the title. So The Angel's Game, written in 2008 about earliest 20th century Barcelona, and he's a writer, so that might be important to know later. Okay, we're going to skip question number 1. We're going to go straight to question 2 because summary questions are best done last. All right, the main purpose of lines 1 through 10. So let's go through lines 1 through 10. So that's the beginning of the passage, and we know the narrator's a writer. He likes friends were made of paper, so he likes books. He learned to read and write, notches of ink, etc., etc. So this guy really loves writing. Okay, so we're gonna pick here for question number 2, describe a passion. Okay, so we're gonna pick C for number 2. Number 3 and 4, these are evidence-based questions, so we're gonna read, look for something about the father. Maybe that'll be answer choice A for question 4. So we're actually gonna answer question number 4 and then pick the answer for question 3 that matches. So we're gonna look for 24, 35, 37, 59. All right, okay. So if we look, my father was not a miser. Okay, so he would say his father is not a miser. Dislike any unnecessary use of money. Well, that's actually the opposite, so we're gonna keep looking. 35 through 37, okay, 35 to 37 is about this bookseller who is not the father. Okay, so we're actually going to skip those, and we're going to go to actually line 59 here. Okay, 59, that afternoon I took my new friend home so my father wouldn't see it. So he doesn't want his dad to see this book, Great Expectations. Okay, and so we're going to pick D here, and then we're going to pick would not approve because he's hiding the gift. So C for number 3 and D for number 4. Number 5 and 6 are also evidence-based questions. Same thing. Okay, why was Great Expectations the greatest gift? And so we're going to look at 38, 48, 52, 66. All right, so we're going to look at 38. 38, nothing about Great Expectations. This one, here we actually say, oh, Great Expectations was the best gift I'd ever received, but it doesn't explain why. And then if we look at 52, 52, Semper knew a few authors, but that again doesn't explain why it was the greatest book. And then if we look now at line 66, which is the end, soon I was convinced I didn't want to do anything else but learn what Mr. Dickens had done, so he wants to be a writer, which we already knew from the title. So we're going to pick D for number 6, and we're going to pick A here for number 5. All right, moving on. The narrator indicates he pays Semper. Okay, so we have to look for paying Semper. Semper, that was here around lines 33. He hardly ever allowed me to pay, so he doesn't pay him anything. Okay. But wait. It says but when it wasn't looking at leave the coins, so there's only small change. So he tries to pay him a little bit of money. Okay. So B would be tempting, but it's much less than they're worth. Okay, so we're gonna pick them. Okay, 8, 44. Line 44. We're gonna pick weight. It's important here to think about the word literally. Okay, so line 44. Dragging my feet, a weight on my soul. So it's not like really a physical weight. It's like a spiritual weight, which we'd see here. It would be burden. Excuse me. Burden for number 8. Okay, 9, friend. We're gonna do that very similarly. The friend is used twice in line 57, 58. Well, if we remember from this, when we were looking, I took my new friend home, he's actually talking about the book Great Expectations, so he's not talking about a physical person. For that reason, we're going to pick reading because that's the one related to book. And then Semper and Charles Dickens. Okay, well, remember, he said he was a friend, but this takes place in the 19th century. Charles Dickens has long been dead, so it'd be an avid reader. D is here a tempting answer, but it's you know, it doesn't say most appreciative, so we want to pick the less extreme answer. All right. Moving on, we got social science passage, why null studies rarely see the light of day. Oh, actually, before, we got to do number one. We're going to pick here, love of reading to an influential incident. Because of questions 2 and 5 and 6, we know that he loves reading and it makes him want to be a writer. Okay, now we're going to move on. Why null studies rarely see the light of day. All right, social science. Once again, we're going to skip question 11. We're going to do 12 and 13, make up our own word, and see which definition matches. Line 21 allows. The test allows, it gives them the ability to order up surveys, which sounds most like enables. Okay, line 43, strength, all right. This is statistical strength, so not literal strength, and actually if we take a peek at line 46, it says statistically significant, so for this answer, we're going to pick significance, D. Okay. 14 and 15, more evidence-based questions. A problem with failing to document no results. Well, problem seems like worse, and failing to document seems like ignorance, so I'm just going to peek at 59 first. 59, worse if earlier null studies are ignored. They could look stronger. Similar experiments. Okay, so similar experiments look stronger, which would be similar experiments related studies are misleading. All right, so we pick A for 14. 16 and 17 are actually more evidence-based questions. Malhotra would object to. Names are really good to look for, so we want to look for Malhotra. So we're going to look for 36, 45, 62, 69, 36 and 45. 36 says, what does 36 say? Nothing about Malhotra, nothing about Malhotra. Okay, but here, even more troubling to Malhotra, so that's something that might trouble him. I mean, he might object to. Scientists, they didn't work out, published on a smaller sample, so they didn't include all of the sample, just a smaller sample. So for that reason, we're going to pick B. They excluded portions of their data. Okay, so B for 16 and C for 17. 18, the last paragraph. So we're going to look at the last paragraph, which is a registry would address these problems. So we're something that's solving all their problems, which is introduce a possible solution. Okay, 19, social studies, strong results in the graph. So we're going to look for strong results in the graph. Okay, so the graph. Strong results here, 20% is published in top journal. I think that was answer C. C, all right, yeah, so we're gonna pick C here. It's just interpreting the graph. Which of the following is supported by the graph? So it's all about mixed results. So we're gonna take a look at mixed results. That was the middle of the graph, right? Okay, so you see 50% are not published, 50% are published. Okay, so published and not published. And just as likely to be published as they were left. Okay, so we're going to pick A. And then here, reflected in the graph. So what are the data in the graph? The data in the graph is statistics. And actually here, you can see a bunch of statistics, okay? So that's like lines like 40 to 50. So for that one, we're going to pick C here. And then we're going to go back to do question 1. I pick B here because explain means why, and we notice that they support a change, which is the registry. All right, solve stretches in the nano world. Nano is 1 billionth of human experience. Once again, we're going to skip 22. We're going to skip 23. We're actually going to start with 24. Surprised. So let's go to line 17. Look for surprise. Line 17 says, scientists don't expect this. All right, I'm picking that because that means surprised. All right, cool. Vocab question, rule, line 20. So line 20. Senor Weber forces rule the nano world, so like rule over, like a king. That looks most like control, so we're going to pick control here for 25. All right, 26. No line number, so we're going to look for initial traction between the microscope and salt. So look for initial traction, scan, scan, scan. It's right here, line 40. Due to electrostatic forces, van der Waals interactions. All right, so electrostatic forces, or actually here, D, van der Waals interactions. 27, another vocab question. 42, lead to. All right, oops. 42, lead to. All right. Several mechanisms might lead to, might cause inelasticity. All right, so we're gonna do cause, which is I'm gonna pick B here. We're gonna pick result in. Okay. 28, 29, more evidence-based questions. Okay, so the relationship between what, both nano world and macro world. Okay. So we're gonna look at 12, 22, 39, 51, 12, no nanowires, no. Here at 51, this bizarre behavior is mirrored in the macro world, right? So mirrored means that they act similarly, okay? And so that describes the relationship, and they're both flexible. And we're gonna pick D here, okay? 30, 31, these are graph-based questions. So we're gonna look for 15 nanometers moving away from the tip, okay? So 15 nanometers moving away from the tip. So it's moving away, 15 here is about 0.75. So we're gonna pick 0.75 for 30. And then for 31, we wanna know when it breaks. Okay, when it breaks, that's probably gonna be Q or T. That's when the force drops to 0. However, we gotta know, is it moving away or moving towards? And if we look, it actually says pulls away. So we're gonna do moving away, and that's gonna be T here. And so we're gonna pick T for 31, all right. Before I move on, we gotta do that. All of these were about unexpected results. Okay, so we're gonna pick A for 22. All right, we have a comparison question, Lincoln Douglas. Hopefully you guys took American history. Douglas talks about growth of the territory and population. So let's see, where does he talk about growth and territory of the population? Okay, that's right here, 4 to 30 million, extended territory. And this is in the context of free and slave states, free and slave states, free and slave states. So he's trying to justify the existence of both free and slave states, which is going to be B here for 32. 33, 34, evidence-based questions. We're gonna look for constitution slavery in lines 10, 25, etc. 10 is about that same expansion, so we don't need to look there. 25 is slavery, right? Why cannot this union exist forever? So why do we have to change things? So we're gonna pick B here, and we're gonna pick does not need to be changed because he wants it to exist forever. 35, element vocab question. Okay, so element most literally means in line 67. 67, this element of slavery, so like this political issue of slavery, which sounds more like factor, right, rather than an ingredient. 36, 37, evidence-based questions, controversy, all right, so we're gonna look at 56 through 83 for something that'd be controversial, okay? Controversial, let's see, alarm, spreading into new territory, present bound, no effort to spread it, peace. So it's controversial when you spread it to new territories, all right? So there we're gonna pick 74, and don't introduce it, so B for 36, okay. 38, nature, line 84, the nature of man, the personality, the soul of man. So let's go pick something that, okay, so we're gonna pick D, character, all right. Central tension, well, you know, from the previous question, he mentions like the way our fathers made it, so we're gonna pick C here. Both of them talked about the expansion, right, growth of territory or not spreading it. And argument, well, that's undermining arguments, not, you know, that's what a debate is, okay? 42, what a plant knows, okay, Venus flytraps, once again, we're gonna skip 42. Why does it require multiple triggers? Okay, so, oh, and then these evidence-based questions, okay? So let's look at lines 3 to 7. 3 to 7, closing requires a huge expanse of energy, okay? Well, that matches, it preserves energy. So we're gonna pick C here and then A previously for 44. Happily, insect, bug, that seems very informal for an academic paper. 46, why are we using short-term memory? Okay, so it's line 15. It says it's analogous to, because plants don't have brains, so it's an analogy, which is trying to explain something using something else, which is going to be a clarify and explanation, okay? Which choice best describes why we need 2 triggers? Okay, why it requires a second trigger. Okay, so second trigger, to second increase calcium over the threshold. So we have calcium and then we need more calcium. Okay, so that's going to be provide supplemental calcium, so D there. Okay, so Hodik and Siever's model, well, let's see, inactivity counts, okay, so we don't have enough supplemental calcium. 49, demonstrated, line 67 demonstrated. What do we pick here? They demonstrated, so they proved it, right? And that would be closest to established. Almost done, 50, 51. There's going to be a criticism. Well, this model was all about calcium, so we're going to look through 66 through 77. Okay. 66 or 67, they didn't measure calcium levels, which seems weird. Okay, so we're gonna pick, they didn't measure C, right? And then they did not corroborate a central element. 52, okay, so what did they actually do? So based on that same, they applied electrodes, right? So they just electrocuted this Venus flytrap just to make sure that it would actually do stuff. So varying amounts of electrical current, okay? And then remember, we gotta go do that last summary question. And what was it about? This was scientific explanations for the closing action. All right, time. The writing section, which we're about to start, is 44 questions in 35 minutes. All right, so ready, set, go. All right. Compost, don't waste this waste. These are transitions. Transitions, similar answer choices are unlikely to be correct, so we're gonna ignore A and B. Furthermore is an additional thing, and for example, an example goes from vague to specific. So here, dividing household waste to glass and aluminum, that's specific, so we're gonna pick D for question 1. Question 2, style and tone. All SAT writing questions are going to be very boring answers, so like closing the door and annihilating are like way too extreme. For eliminating the need, encouraging or minimizing or eliminating the need, right? Ousting means to like get rid of, but more like a person from office, okay? So we're gonna pick B for number 2. Number 3, how are the answer choices different? It and also, so let's see. We want to keep to the same writing style. So compost minimizes waste, increases saving, and helps. So we want to increase the saving because it's a simple present tense verb. 4, we have parentheses. So we want to pick B, parentheses. We don't need a semicolon because it starts a new sentence. Number 5, this is about compost. Compost is food waste. So we're actually gonna pick D here, right? Similarly for 6, it is about food waste, and we could take a look at the graph if we'd like. 7, worse than, we want to do THAN, we don't need a comma there, so we're going to pick B here. Number 8, what is contributing? Organic material, that's singular. Organic material contributes, so we're going to pick C. Very potent, that sounds good, right? Because sturdy, influential, commanding doesn't really make sense with gas. Potent is like strong thing. Number 10, okay, transitions. So what was the previous paragraph about? 13 million tons, squandering. So these are just facts, armed with these facts. Yeah, this one's a little bit tough. A, B, and C, let's see, mindful, this is not really a setback, it's not really about regulations. And this while doesn't really make sense to making compost laws mandatory. Let's see, number 11, these are conjunctions. We always say either or, so we're gonna keep it A, okay? 12, usually the shortest answer is correct. We don't need to say red twice or tell us that red is a color, okay? Buildings are, okay, so we have commas or dashes. Dashes come in pairs, so we're gonna cross that out. These commas aren't necessary, so we're gonna pick a D here. Which choice most effectively possible origins? We have to answer the question, where did this dance come from? Lions are fierce? No. Evil spirit? No. Villagers dressed in lion costumes? Maybe. Precise location remains lost? No. So we're gonna pick here because scaring away wearing lion costumes could be the origin of a lion dance. 15 concludes the paragraph. Let's see, irrelevant, no. Whatever's origins, today's celebration promise of New Year. All right, that's pretty good here. Okay, 16, all right, cool. So we have a complete sentence and we have another complete sentence here. So that's sort of a run-on sentence. So we can't do both of them or both. We don't use of which because people are whom, and both of whom because whom creates a sort of relative clause as opposed to its own independent clause. We're going to pick A here because dancers are whom. 17, when you are comparing similar things, we're going to compare moves to those moves, right? We can't compare moves to discipline or artists, right? So compare the same kind of thing, moves to moves. So we're going to pick D here. 18, style and content. So we have phoenix here, a mythical bird. So and a tortoise, and for longevity, right? So tortoise for longevity, what's it for? Okay, so we're gonna do not for symbolic reasons, but for new beginnings, right? Because it's telling us the meaning, right? Everything's symbolic. Sentence 5, where should it be placed? Sentence 5 is their older counterparts dance slowly. So we want to look for age and slowness, or dancing, right? So we're going to actually put it next to 7 because black lions are youngest, they dance quickly, and then older, right? Older compared to what? Black lions, and they dance more slowly. So we're going to pick D here. 20. It's or their, the line dance reaches its, that's one thing, and we do ITS because IT apostrophe S is it is. Let's see here, approaching the doorway, well, the lion approaches the doorway, not its teeth. 22, we're gonna pick the shortest answer, envelope, because we already know that it has money in it. 23, once again, tone, we're gonna pick, boring answer, so super rigorous, spot on, doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make sense to say intenseness, we're gonna pick scrupulous here. During hearings, depositions, and other legal, this is just a simple list, so we're gonna pick here C, comma, comma. 25, should the writer make this addition here? Is considering the following graphs. Okay, in general, when we're adding stuff, we sort of want to be biased towards not adding it because it might be irrelevant, right? So what is this about? Court reporters? Who cares about other occupations, right? So here, we don't care about pay scale. I'm gonna pick C for 25. 26 is not subject to human error, right? That's a little bit of a fluency thing. Subjected and subject for don't have a slightly different meaning. Let's see. Here is this plural or singular court reporters as record keepers, right? So we're gonna pick C here. And then 28, sentence 6, most logical. Sentence 6 is, however, that means opposite of rise of recording technology. So something contrasting with the rise of recording technology. If you notice, we go from typed words to digital audio recording. We're gonna put it between 3 and 4 because it transitions, however, from typed words to the rise of recording technology. So between 3 and 4, which is after sentence 3, that's C here, okay. 29, shortest answer, opposite, and it's correct. Because digitals record indiscriminately, it's not a complete sentence, so we need a comma there. Another transition, so from other noises, they cannot discern important parts. Does indeed record everything, but that includes loud noises, okay? So, cannot discern and recording everything is sort of the same thing. It sounds like, in other words, okay? So I'm gonna pick C here. Consequently, therefore, very similar, probably not correct. Shortest answer, no. Here, can distinguish between words and, yeah, so shortest answer here, we don't need to say between twice. Best supporting example, okay, so they're talking about like witnessing mumbling and problems that could occur. So let's see, it could be retrial, that could cause a problem there. So pick that D, right? Okay, more transitions, okay, so in the micro-earth gravitational influence, in a microgravity influence. So this is about Earth gravity versus microgravity, so that might be however, because it says different, okay? 35, want to keep related words together. So all of these sort of sound similar for 35. The only difference is the order of the words, and here actually right after the underline, we have fuels derived from once living material, which are biofuels, so we want to keep that next to definition, so we're going to pick D here for 35. 36, these are all changes, but deformation is change in a bad way, and we got uneven heat, so we're going to pick deformation because it's bad, okay? Here we got cause versus has cause versus limit, so we got to figure out, is it singular or plural? That both results in subtle variations that both cause and limit, so cause and limit results in subtle variation. This is, okay, so it's the variations that cause, so it's multiple things, so we're going to pick B here, okay? Built for this purpose, well, specially designed already means this, so we're gonna actually delete it. Deleting it is always the shortest answer, okay? Most effective transition here for 39, well, what are they talking about? They're talking about microgravity and a program, so we're actually gonna pick the microgravity university program here for 39. 40, one thing, when you see this or and comma, that's like giving that's sort of giving a new definition. So they're defining weightlessness. So we want to put a comma or, right, and give its definition, right? So weightlessness is achieved and everything else is a definition. The writer's considering adding, okay, and perform their experiments without traveling to space, okay? So we have to be very literal about the answer choices. It doesn't actually say it in this sentence, right? This sentence just says they experienced microgravity. It elaborates on advantage, it does do that. It doesn't reveal it did not actually go into space. No, this is addressed and doesn't shift away from the student's focus. So we're gonna pick A here for 41. Okay, 42, this is sort of a dumb question, right? Here it says, were able to investigate to really emphasize their ability to do it, but all these sort of mean the same thing. So I think 42 here is an unfair question. 43, if you remember, it's about the deformation. So we're gonna go here. And 44, improved techniques for fighting fires in space or at a future outpost. It doesn't look like we need any kind of punctuation. All right. Okay, here we have the first math section. There are two math sections, one no calculator and one with calculator. You can tell because of these nifty icons up top. For both sections, they give you this formula sheet, which you can reference. I'm probably not gonna do it. And as the rules dictate, I'm not gonna use a calculator. Okay, the first 15 questions are multiple choice, and then 16 through 20 are grid-ins. Okay, I'll just write it on the screen for you to see, okay? All right, 25 minutes, 20 questions, let's go. All right, ooh, algebra. Okay, so we have 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x minus 5 equals 7 plus 2x, right? 4x equals 12, x equals 3, so D here, okay? 2, this is a slope intercept, so that's D over M, so that's 2 over 1, so we're gonna do A, okay, because D is twice M. Number 3, the answer choice wants us to isolate P, so we multiply by 6 and subtract O and subtract 4M. 6E minus O minus 4M, that's A. 4, we have to figure out what this angle X is. So this makes a line, which makes this 66 degrees, right? That adds up to 97, which makes this 83, because triangles have 180 degrees. These are vertical angles. RTU is an isosceles triangle, right? So these have to add up to 180. So 114 plus 66, these are 33. These are 33s. And then this has to add up to 180 because it's also a triangle, so that is 116, therefore X must be 64C. Okay. Here we want to find the perimeter. It's W and 6 feet longer than W, so that'll be W, 6 plus W, and that's 2L, 2W, 2W plus 2W plus 12, 4W plus 12, okay? Here for inequalities, a shortcut is we can just sort of set them equal and then put the inequalities later. So I'm gonna plug in 5 here, 5 minus 1 is 4. So I'm gonna pick B there. All right, 7. Solution set, we're gonna go plug in the answers, right? So we're gonna plug in -1, right? So that's square root of 4 plus 4 equals -1 plus 3, 2 plus 4 equals 2, 6 does not equal 2, so -1, -1, -1 is wrong. 5 is the only one that remains. Here we have to divide these, here for number 8, we have to divide these two functions. So I'm gonna split, so first I'm gonna factor out an x, and then I actually can, this is a difference of perfect squares, so I can do that as x times x plus 3, x minus 3. Here, what makes -3? Well, that's gonna be x minus 3, x plus 1, because those add up to -2 here. X minus 3 is canceled out. X times x plus 3 divided by x plus 1, so D here for number 8. Number 9, we have a circle, and the center is 6, -5. and we have diameter at 10, -5, and this is our radius squared, so our radius is 4, meaning our diameter is 8. 8 points away from 10 is 2, so we're going to pick A here. Here, a group of 202 people, okay, 60 tenths, 2 and 4, and how many 2? So we have to actually set up a system of equations here. So we're going to say X are the 2 people tenths, Y is the 4 people tenths, and there are 60 tenths. We do the 2X plus 4Y equals 202. And we want the 2-person tenths, so we're going to solve for X. So we're going to eliminate Y here by multiplying by 4. 240, and then subtract, so I get -2x equals -38, therefore X is 19. Okay, number 11. Our zeros are -3, 0, and 2, which means we want +3 and -2 because it's the opposite, and we got a little bit of parabola, both are going the same direction, so we actually want an x squared here for B. Number 12, so let's cross multiply. We got 4a equals b. In order to get b over a, we divide by a, and we get 4. All right. Here, this is to the first power, so this is slope, so we got to figure out, let's see here, f divided by t, okay? So we have 1.9 million minus 4 million over 13 minus 0, that's 2013 minus 2000. So this is a -21 over 13, which is the same as C here. And it's going down, so we pick negative because it says dropped. Okay. 14, okay, so we're gonna substitute this for this y, giving us x squared plus 3x minus 7 minus 5x plus 8 equals 0, combine like terms. X squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 0, so that gives me x minus 1 times x minus 1, which is a single solution because 1 is the same number, so we're going to pick C here. There's exactly one solution. Okay, so here we're going to plug in 0 for x, so 0, 0, 0, 0. So G here is -1, so we're going to do 1 minus -1, which is 2 here for 15. Okay, on to the student produced response here. The factors of 12 are going to be 4 and 3, so we're going to make this positive negative to get this positive 1. X plus 4, x minus 3, we want to pick the positive 1, so we pick 3 here. Okay, here we need to find the sum and then A, B, C in standard form, so we're going to combine like terms, so that's x squared plus 8x plus 23, and then A is 1, B is 8, this is 23, so that would be 32 there. Okay, so 32 for 17. 18, another system of equations. These line up pretty well. 0, 4y, 6, y equals 3/2. All right, cool, that's 3/2 for 18. 19, this actually is slope-intercept form, so A is the slope, B is where we start. We started with 8 employees, so B equals 8. Okay, so that's 8 for number 19. Here, BC is 2/5 of the circle. Well, it's in degrees. Circle has 360 degrees. 2/5 of that, that's 720 divided by 5. Let's see, that's 4 and 4. So 144 degrees because it's 2/5 of x. All right, very cool. Calculator section, I do have a calculator, but I'll try not to use it if I don't have to. So here it's a lot longer, 55 minutes and 38 questions, but you know, shouldn't be too bad. All right, so first question, 1 pound of grapes costs $2. At this rate, how many dollars will C pounds of grapes cost? Well, I don't just multiply by C, right, A. Let's see, what interval do the figurines decrease the fastest? Well, that's the biggest drop off between 3 and 4 here, so we're gonna pick C. Number 3, random sample of 200 cars, 3 have defects, right? So how many will 10,000? So where we can set up a ratio, x over 10,000, so it's gonna be 50 more, so 150 more. So I'll double check that with a calculator. 30,000 divided by 200 is 100, very good. Okay, number 4, so we have 19 millimeters, and we can actually plug that in here, or we can sort of follow the graph and it'll be like 52 point something, so that's actually C there. Y is 20 degrees, Z is 60 degrees. Let's see, these are parallel, which makes this 20, this is 80, X is 100 degrees, right? So what is X? X is 100. All right, cool. 6. For these kind of problems, you just want to match them up, okay? So bench is 75, right? So, and then lawn is 40, so we want 75 and 40. But the total cost is 1970 and the number of tickets is 350. So we're actually going to pick D here, 75 for bench. Okay, cool. Which has a slope of 3? Well, that's just mx plus b, so that's 3 here, so C. 8, which is the possible value, so let's multiply by x plus 1, take the square root, and we got root 2b. Right, cool. What is the value of k? So we just set this equal to 473, and I'm going to use my calculator for this one because it is a speed run, times 48 divided by 7 divided by, and then to the 1/3 power, whoops, 1032.1 to the 1/3 power is 10.11, okay? Here it's gonna, for 10, what's gonna look like, so it's actually gonna fill up really fast and slow down, right? It's just gonna fill up really fast and slow down, that's C here, okay? 11 has how many gallons can she fit? So that's 128. So let's look at what's going on here. So it's 16 fluid ounces, right? So let's see, 16 times 8 is 128, right? So that'll be 8 here. Once again, we're going to just line up the numbers, right? It says he did not meet his goal, right? So he actually sold 57 or less, right? So less than, but he did make over 3 million. So I'm gonna pick C here, because less than 57 because he didn't meet his goal, and greater than 3 million because that's what it says. Okay, negative exponents, well, that means 1 over, and 1/2 is square root. So we're gonna solve for A, okay? So we're gonna multiply by root A, and we're gonna divide by X, and then we're gonna square both sides. So 1 over X squared there. Is it undefined? Well, undefined is when the denominator is 0. So we're gonna set that equal to 0, and this is gonna be a 5 and 2. X plus 5, X minus 2, so that's D2. 2 will be undefined. Density is mass over volume, okay. And what do we want to find? We want to find what is the mass, right? So we're going to do D times V. Well, the volume is 30 times 40 times 50, right? Then we multiply that by 2.8, 30 times 50, 30 times 40 times 50 is 60,000 times 2.8 is 168,000, so D. What proportion who received a sugar pill contracted a cold? Okay, so of those who received a sugar pill, how many cold? That's 33 over 150, right? And if we divide by 3, that's 11 over 50, B. Okay. So 20, mean, median, mode. Okay, so mean, I just gotta add these up. So be careful about these frequencies, right? We have to add 18 6 times, 19 5 times, okay? So 18 times 6 plus 19 times 5 plus 20 times 4 plus 21 times 2 plus 22 plus 23 plus 30 divided by 20. The mean is 20. The mode is 18. And the median is the 11th student, so that's going to be 19. Okay, median is 19. So that's going to be, see, median is smallest, right? So, sorry, mode is smallest. So it's going to be 18, 19, 20. So we're going to pick A here. Okay. Negative 2 degrees, that's about here, which gives me like 60%. It's about 70% here. Okay, see? Okay. Zeros are negative 3 and 1. So it's negative 3 and 1, and it's less than 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we can already just pick A. 20. Okay, so here we spend 43.34. We're going to spend 25,000, and we're going to go down to 27.12. Okay, so our savings are going to be 43.4 minus 27 every year, right? And we want to know, when is this going to be greater than our initial cost, which looks like this one here, B. Okay, 3.39. Well, that's the slope, right? So slope, remember, is y over x, which is amount of plastic per year, okay? So amount of plastic, the average plastic production, and the average annual increase per year. So I'm going to pick D here, because that's the slope. What is the percentage increase from 2000 to 2003? Well, okay, 2000, that's 15 years. That's here. 2003, it's here. It's from 100 to 110, so that's going to be 10%, right? To go from 100 to 110. Okay, be careful. It's not 110%. It's a 10% increase. Let's see here. We're replacing years with quarters. Okay, so let's see. Q equals T. Okay, so the number of quarters is 4 times the year, right? So if we're gonna replace it with quarters to keep the equation the same, we have to replace this T with Q over 4 here, A. Okay. This is a stats question. First of all, you can't tell like what actually would happen, so you can't tell us who would have actually won, right? Let's see. Viewers more likely than younger viewers. Viewers voting by 30%. Okay, we're more likely to vote. So social media, contestant 2, right? So, and then text messages, text, 40% for text message. Yeah, so all we can do is D, just sort of a preference, not an actual statement of fact. Okay. Here, this actually, again, slope. So the slope is, what is this? This is 16 over 10, and it's going down, so it's negative 1.6 here, A. Okay. Just for statistics, all sampling methods are flawed, so just pick C here. You can't ask people about you can't ask people how many kids they have at a playground. Everyone has a playground here, okay? Right here, it's a system of equations, but we want like P and R, and we got to get rid of this B. Okay, so first I'm going to replace Y and X with R and P. R equals P plus B. Here, 5R equals 4P plus B, and I'm going to eliminate. So negative 4R equals negative 3P, right? And I want to get R over P, so we divide by P. And we divide by negative 4. R over P equals positive 3 over 4. Did I do that right? Yes, okay. 28, standard deviation. Well, and then range. They both have the same range, 32, right? So, and the standard deviations are not equal, so we're gonna pick D here because they look different. Once again, we got slope. And so he's 5,000, after 20 minutes, use 30%. Okay, so 30% of 5,000 is 1,500. Minus, because we're losing it over 20 minutes, is negative 75, so our slope is negative 75 here, okay? 30, the maximum value of f is k, so the maximum value of f is 3, right? So g of 3, well, when x is 3, g is 6, so we pick 6 here for B, okay? All right, now on to the student-produced response. There are 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen. How many in 51? So just times 2, that's 102 there, very good. X equals 1, right? So 1 equals 1/2 A equals 2, right? A equals 2. 33, these are the same line, and you notice times 3 times 3 times 3, C is 30. Okay, C is 30. Let's see, he did 11 miles over 26 minutes, and there are 60 minutes per hour, right? So 11 times 60 divided by 26 is 25 point, well, nearest tenth of a mile, 25.4 miles per hour. 35. All right, you can sort of cheat with this one and draw your system of equations if you want to actually do it something like this, 2 and 8. But okay, we can actually just go ahead and solve it. So in a system, we can set them equal to each other, right? Because do that. Negative 1/2 x minus 4 squared plus 10 equals negative x plus 10. 10's cancel out. I'm going to multiply by negative 2 here. X minus 4 squared equals 2x. X squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 2x. Subtract 2x. This is going to be negative 8, negative 2. Either of those are correct answers. Okay. Here we don't have a W, so I'm going to just draw this W. And if you notice, what we've done is we've split up a right angle, so these are complementary angles. And if you know that the sine of one angle is equal to the cosine of its complementary angle, so this is actually 0 for 36. 37. Okay, we got 37. How many more micrograms of 10 millimeters, 5 minutes versus 8 millimeters, 10 minutes, okay? So 10 milliliters, 5 minutes versus 10 milliliters, 5 minutes, 8 milliliters, 10 minutes, okay? So 10, oh gosh, sorry, I gotta go reread that again. 10 and 8, 10 milliliters, 5, 8 milliliters, 10 minutes, okay. 10 milliliters, 5. Okay, so 152, we're gonna do then times 10 versus 8 times, so that's 118 times 8, okay? So 1520 minus 944 is 576. All right, sorry, it took so long, 576. Okay, and then here we want to solve for b, so we got to plug in a p and a t. Okay, because it's t over 5, I'm going to pick 5 here, 5 for t, 152 for p. Okay, you'll see why in a second. So by plugging in 5 for t, we get to the first power, which is really easy. 152 divided by 200 is 0.76, nearest tenth is 0.8. All right, time.